welcome to another episode of The Metal Voice, where each and every week we tune in and talk all things metal. This week, shredding. Shredding. Jim, you know, who would be some of your top guitarists in the metal industry?
You know, I'll break it down to metal, hard rock.
Yeah, sure.
Of course, Alex Lifeson for me in Rush is probably one of my favorite guitarists. The reason is because he colors his guitar. So he can play a great solo, he knows how to play rhythm, and he's by himself. There's no second guitarist there.
Right.
And Randy Rhoads. Randy Rhoads, Ozzy Osbourne fame. He brought the neoclassical style to metal, and everybody just copied it.
One of my favorite guitarists, of course, is Gary Moore, who passed away recently. He could do everything. He can do the hard rock, he can do the blues, he can put soul and inflection into every little note. Superb guitarist, maybe outside the hard rock metal vein, but also my favorite guitarist, I mean, it goes back to the very first album I bought is Angus Young. If you can, yes, people say he only plays the 3 chords, but what he can do with those 3 chords.
That's right.
What he can do with those 3 strings. I mean, the stuff that he plays, fast, he's got everything, plus feeling. He's got an unbelievable amount of feeling. Some classic solos, and Let There Be Rock alone,
I would put
says it all.
Angus Young as the most underrated guitarist.
Oh, underrated, there we go, Jim. So you would say Angus Young would be...
Angus Young is underrated. He's got feel when he plays. He's got so much feel. Let There Be Rock. A whole lot of Rosie. It's just he's blasting, and he's running around bobbing his head. You know, for like, I don't even know how he plays like that.
And you know, it's funny because my underrated guitarist that I don't think gets any recognition, at least not as much as he deserves, is Alex Lifeson. Nobody ever talks about Alex Lifeson. Listen to the reggae break in Spirit of the Radio.
That's right.
Listen to the feeling he puts into every solo.
Look, the working man,
exactly.
The opening riff. You can't get better than that.
And you know, you listen to everything. Just Limelight. Take the solo from Limelight. The feeling. He can do it all. He plays magnificently, and nobody ever. They always talk about Geddy's bass playing, Neil Peart's drumming, of course, but they never talk about him. And I think he's one of the most underrated guitarists in the industry today, and he's been around forever, Jim.
He plays the solo according to the feel of the song.
Exactly.
Take a song like Different Strings, then you take a song like Natural Science. He's all over the map.
Red Barchetta, that opening sequence.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that would be my choice for underrated.
There you go, Alex Lifeson.
Now, overrated, Jim. Who do you think that gets too much credit for what he does?
Yngwie Malmsteen. Look, we know you could play guitar, Yngwie, but it's not the Olympics.
Yngwie J. Malmsteen, to differentiate him from all the other Yngwie Malmsteens of the world.
I mean, Alan, I bought the CD with the Ripper on, and then I bought the other CD with Ripper on it, and I don't even know what the songs are. I'm putting them on. It's blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's the same solo every single time. To me, yeah, I know you can play really fast, and I know you know your classical scales, but you know what? Actually, I don't want to put him completely down, because his first 2 albums that he came out with were fantastic. But you know, the later in the 90s and the millennium, I mean, it all sounds the same.
It's odd, because those first 2 albums that I have, again, you know, here's a guy that's I don't even consider myself a fan of, but I have a lot of his stuff at home. The first 2 albums, I said, yeah, you know, I agreed with you. Too many notes. He launched a whole other way of playing guitar.
That's right.
For better or worse. Those first 2 albums, there's no feel. There's nothing. There's no emotion. Then that all changed for me on the Trilogy album with a song called Crying. Yeah. That's a great song. That's where he put the feeling in, and of course the album Odyssey after that with Joel and Turner. So I would agree with you normally if it wasn't for those 2 albums. So
you know, Yngwie's a great player, and he influenced a generation of guitarists, no question.
Again,
I give him that. But you know what? Does any of us really think his albums are great? Come on. Do we go, hey man, this is like Back in Black? No, it's not.
Even Yngwie had problems with his hands because of the Bumblebee playing. For myself, I'm trying to think. I like a lot of guitars, but you know, Slash for me would be one that's overrated. I mean, you're talking to a guy that thinks Guns N' Roses was a one-hit wonder. I think Appetite for Destruction was their whole career. Slash is a great guitarist, don't get me wrong. I don't want letters saying, what are you talking about? I'm just saying that for myself, if I had to pick a guitarist that gets a lot of recognition for what he does, I'm thinking he's one that might be considered overrated.
Well, I disagree with you, Alan. I like Slash. He's blues, punk guitarist, and he influenced another generation of guitarists. And Appetite for Destruction has got to be one of the best hard rock, punk,
no doubt,
metal albums out there. Alan, let's change gears this time around. Let's just talk about what we've been listening to this week.
Yeah.
We did our debate to begin with.
Right.
Now let's end off with something we've been listening to.
So what have you been listening to, Jim?
I've been listening to Fistful of Metal.
Anthrax. First album.
Now, a lot of people love Joey Belladonna. A lot of people love John Bush. But tell you the truth, I like them both, but I like Neil Turbin.
All 6'7" of them.
Bring back Neil Turbin to Anthrax, for God's sakes. And
Scott Ian, are you listening?
Yes, bring him back. He is the vocalist. He's brutal. He's got a range, and man, these songs. This is what got me into Anthrax. I remember when this album came out. This was the album. This was what thrash was. And then I see the Big Four, and I see Joey Belladonna there. You know, he's like kind of like great vocalist. I love some of the songs, but it's like generic vocalist. Like, okay, let's put the next guy up there. He sounds the same. He's got tone, he's got range, and he's got brutal vocals.
Well, the first Anthrax album is basically the one that it started and ended for me with that first one as well, Jim.
They sold out after that.
Metal Thrashing Mad.
Thrashing Mad.
Just the vocals and the guitar. They were out of New York, much different than the West Coast thrash. They didn't get Anthrax never got the recognition as the other big three. They tried, with their moshing and the outfits, and then the rap compilations. I'm the Man, which was hilarious, and I loved at the time.
Bring the Noise.
They tried to do something a little bit more different and went outside the box, and I think that affected their long-term recognition, but it also enabled them to still be around to this day.
And Alan, I'm going to just fast forward to a few years back. We've Come For You All. This is John Bush singing on this Anthrax album. I put these two albums 10 out of 10. We've Come For You All. Not a bad track. The drumming will blow your mind. John Bush, probably one of his best vocal performances on any Anthrax, Armored Saint, or wherever other band he was playing in. We've Come For You All. 10 out of 10. You will not be disappointed. After your second listen, you'll say, I can't believe this album was out and I never even heard of it.
There you go. And this week's letter that we'd like to talk about is we got some comments concerning Megadeth.
It was Kyle. Kyle says, hey, Jimmy and Alan, metal guys, what is your favorite Megadeth album? Or can you talk a little bit about, Megadeth? We will in coming shows, but I'll just tell you, my favorite, of course, has got to be Rust in Peace and a live album, Rude Awakening. The guy is falling off his bed over the cliff there, the skyscraper. Rude Awakening is like a greatest hits up to around 2002. Crystal clear live, great playing, a great selection of songs, and it will not disappoint. 2 CDs, go get Rude Awakening, Rust in Peace. But we'll talk more about Megadeth as time goes by.
For me, it's, Peace sells.
But who's buying?
Yeah, who's buying? And of course, Killing Is My Business. And
Business is good.
To Their Monde, that's a great track as well.
Yeah.
Dave, coming from Metallica, had some issues he had to work out throughout his career, and I think he's very political. It's a great band. He's the driving force. An interesting guy. I like to sit down and.
I think they should bring Dave Mustaine back into Metallica as another guitarist. Don't kick out, don't kick out Kirk. Bring Dave back and let them write a new Metallica album with Dave as a rhythm guitarist. Just Metallica, a new album. You're gonna see they are gonna bring probably one of the best. They're mature. They're older. They're better songwriters. He'll get that spark in Metallica that they need, that they haven't had in a while.
You heard it here first.
That's
right. If it ever happens,
we're trying to change the course of
when hell freezes over, remember, you heard it here first.
That's right.
So again, thanks for tuning in this week. Check out our website, www.themetalvoice.com.
Or themetalvoice@gmail.com if you want to write us a letter. We listen, we read, and we answer your letters. If we can't, well, we're sorry, but we'll try to in the future.
Thank you.